Hey, Room 11. I thought I will continue reading Danny the Champion of the World to you while we are at home and use it as part of a Q&A with reading tasks. So, we are up to the chapter of the Great Shooting Party. And we're at the point where Danny is actually asking, do lots of people come, I asked. Hundreds, he said. They come from miles around, dukes and lords, barons and baronets, wealthy businessmen, and all the fancy folk in the country. They come with their guns and their dogs and their wives, and all day long the noise of shooting rolls across the valley. But they don't come because they like Mr. Hazel. Secretly, they all despise him. They think he's a nasty piece of work. Then why do they come, Dad? Because it's the best pheasant shoot in the south of England. That's why they come. But to Mr. Hazel, it's the greatest day in the year, and he is willing to pay almost anything to make it a success. He spends a fortune on those pheasants. Each summer, he buys hundreds of young birds from the pheasant farms and puts them in the wood, where the keepers feed them and guard them and fatten them up, ready for the great day to arrive. Do you know, Danny, that the cost of rearing and keeping one single pheasant up to the time when it's ready to shoot is equal to the price of 100 loaves of bread? It's not true. I swear it, my father said. But to Mr. Hazel, it's worth every penny of it. And do you know why? It makes him feel super important. For one day in the year, he becomes a big cheese in a little world, and even the Duke of So-and-so slaps him on the back and tries to remember his first name when he says goodbye. My father reached out a hand and scratched the hard plaster just below his left knee. It itches, he said. The skin itches under the plaster, so I scratch the plaster and pretend I'm scratching the skin. Does it help? No, he said, it doesn't help. But listen, Danny. Yes, Dad. I want to tell you something. He started scratching away again at the plaster on his leg. I waited for him to go on. I wanted to tell you I want to tell you what I would dearly love to do right now. Here it comes, I thought. Here comes the big and crazy idea. I could tell something big and crazy was coming simply from watching his face. It's a deadly secret, Danny. He paused and looked carefully all around him, and although there was probably not a living person within 2 miles of us at that moment, he now leaned close to me and lowered his voice to a soft whisper. I would like, he whispered, to find a way of poaching so many pheasants from Hazel's Wood there wouldn't be any left for the big opening day shoot on October the 1st. Dad! I cried. No! Shh, he said. Listen. If only I could find a way of knocking off a couple of 100 birds all in one go, then Mr. Hazel's party would be the biggest washout in history. 200, I said. That's impossible. Just imagine, Danny, he went on. What a triumph. What a glorious victory that will be. All the dukes and lords and famous men would arrive in their big cars, and Mr. Hazel would strut about like a peacock, welcoming them and say things like, plenty of birds there for you this year, Lord So-and-so, and my Sir Godfrey, this is a great season for pheasants, a very great season indeed. And then out they would go, with their guns under their arms, and they would take up their positions surrounding the famous wood, and inside the wood a whole army of hired beaters would start shouting and yelling and bashing away at the undergrowth to drive the pheasants out of the woods towards the waiting guns, and lo and behold, there'll be simply not a single pheasant to be found anywhere, and Mr. Victor Hazel's face will be redder than a boiled beetroot. Now, wouldn't that be the most fantastic, marvellous thing if we could pull it off, Danny? My father had gotten himself so worked up that he rose to his feet and hobbled down the caravan steps and started pacing back and forth in front of me. Wouldn't it though, he shouted, wouldn't it be fantastic? Yes, I said, but how? He cried. How could it be done? There's no way, Dad. It's hard enough just getting 2 birds up in those woods, let alone 200. I know that, my father said. It's the keepers that make it difficult, though. How many are there, I asked. Keepers? 3? And there's always others around. Do they stay right through the night? No, not through the night, my father said. They'll go home as soon as all the pheasants are safely up in the trees roosting. But nobody's ever discovered a way of poaching a roosting pheasant, not even my own dad, who was the greatest expert in the world. It's about your bedtime, he added. Off you go, and I'll come in and tell you a story. Okay, that's the end of chapter 10. I am going to send out some questions, and I would like to know your response. Thank you.